Oh, you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, now we're good.
Yeah. It's tough getting into this live stream, man. I ain't gonna even lie. It's work. I called Steele like 4 times, like, hey, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to tell him, like, the live stream, he purposely not answering the phone.
Steele, to his credit, is doing a good job of not being a part of the live stream. He comes on and immediately tries to get himself thrown off, and then tries not to come on. So those are the two versions of Steele we're getting. We're getting throw me off or don't bring me on at all. So Steele's made his presence or lack thereof known.
No ceilings. The live stream. No ceilings live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon. It's the lunch hour. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you click the link below inside the caption. Subscribe to the No Ceilings podcast at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We did a really great conversation about Drake versus Wayne. Drake versus Dot versus Drake, and kind of the aftermath of the Super Bowl announcement. It's a really good pod. Y'all should go check it out. But
when are we doing conversations about Norm Steele? That's
what
everybody wants.
We could do that. We could have a conversation about Steele. I'm all in. I'm all in for that. Let's get into that. But something I saw earlier from the NFL sources told me in 5 years, the NFL has been partnered with Roc Nation. The two parties have never offered Drake the Super Bowl halftime show. One source says it's a blatant lie. And that's in response to Drake, or rather Maul. It's a podcast, Rory and Maul. They were both co-hosts on Joe Budden's podcast initially, if I remember correctly. And they have their own podcast. And during the whole Dot versus Drake battle, Maul has kind of sided with Drake. He's been on Drake's side. So a lot of the stuff he's been talking about has been anti-Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? So, during the battle, he was like giving play-by-play. He was, I guess, based off of his conversation or things that he's saying or people's perception, he was in communication with Drake during the whole battle. And he was kind of updating all of the fans about what was going to happen next in the battle. And he was so sure that Drake was going to win the battle. And obviously, when Drake lost the battle, he was devastated. So their last podcast, he came out after Kendrick Lamar was announced as the halftime performer. He came out on the podcast and said, hey, Drake has been offered the Super Bowl multiple times and he turned it down. And and it sounded like trash. I ain't gonna lie. It sounded like ridiculous, total BS. But it's Drake, so you can't really say it's not. Well, the NFL has made it their business, to leak. Like, no, we never offered cuz the Super Bowl.
Sure. As is evidenced by the fact that he's never been. What I want to know is, what's the running list of people who blatantly turned down offers for the Super Bowl halftime show? Who's on that list? When were they offered? How authentic were such offers? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, there are acts that are unparalleled that have done that.
Yeah, that list has to be really, really short.
Super short. Like hardcore drug addicts and convicts. I'd love to, but I'm unavoidably detained at the moment type list. If you're not in prison or rehab, you're going to the Super Bowl.
What's funny? I was thinking about it, right? Who lied? Is it Drake or Maul? Like, did Maul lie? Did Drake say that? Right? Or is Maul lying? Right? That's the trick. Like, who's lying? Is Drake lying or is Maul lying? And
I don't know.
what's funny is, right, since this battle began, right? Um, like, I've talked to Dot since the battle happened, but honestly, I'm not like, I've barely talked to Dot about music or culture, excuse me, music when this battle was happening. Like, my advice was always just stay the culture. That's
And
my
that's what it
cornerstone to,
was.
yeah, that's the cornerstone to all of my conversation. You know what I mean? Stay the culture.
And I was the first person, at least on this podcast, so out of two,
Sure.
to predict this was going to be terminal for Drake. And
You
I said,
did say that as
and
well.
I said that Kendrick has turned this into a house field battle. And Kendrick made Drake walk the plank off of the ship of Black America like a pirate.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
But in fairness, he had no business being on that ship.
It doesn't matter whether he had fairness of being on the ship. He was on the ship, stowaway or ticket holder. He snuck onto the boat and he threw his ass off the boat. And now he's not on the boat.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me. He is with an inner tube.
Yeah. He's out there floating that sea. But do you think? Okay, so I said all that to say that I really wasn't talking to Drake. To Dot about music. Like, I wasn't asking what's his next diss record. Like, we was talking about cars and more things that normally we would talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about the battle a little bit, and I know Dot. I know the type of kid Kendrick is. I know the type. This nigga's a grown man now. You know what I mean? With children of his own, and like, I knew he knew what to do. He had already been prepared what to do in this battle. Like, he already knew what needed to be done. So I didn't really feel pressure to talk to him about that versus how he felt about certain things when he would mention it, or, the things. I just find it hard that Drake is over talking to Maul and Ack about this battle. Like if Maul and Ack, like, unless Drake is just the kind of guy that's blabbering on about the battle to just some guys that are not in his inner circle, I just don't believe he could be that like ridiculous.
This is the thing. When you initially brought it up, my first two instincts are, well, Maul has more reason to just come out and say a thing than Drake does.
Yeah.
In just the natural objective value assessment. But I'm not so sold on the flip side either that Drake is the most secure, like, man's man of all time. I don't know the guy from a hole in the wall. But I could see it going either way. But unless he was probably... The only way I see Drake, like, lying about it is if, like, Maul hit him up and, like, baited him into it and was like, man, this is bullshit. I can't, they did you dirty. And he just, like, off the cuff was like, oh, I've been offered it multiple times. So, like, I don't think he hit him up was like, don't sweat the game for that. I don't know why he would even take. I don't know why Kendrick would even take this show. I get offered it all the time. I turn it down every year. Like, I don't think that he made that call. You know what I mean? If anything, if there was a conversation at all, I think it went the other way, and he just tried to save face because he had it thrown on his lap all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Shout out to the Outward N-Word, B. Edwards, Jose, Ben Frank. Appreciate y'all being in the spot. Everything is A1. Elliot Wilson reported the boy did turn down the Super Bowl. I don't believe Elliot Wilson. Let me just say that, B. I just do not believe he turned down the Super Bowl. I think it could have came across within conversation, but there is no way possible that the NFL would go through all of that and not just say that. That just would be ridiculous.
And here's the other thing to consider. There's turning down being the named headliner on the Super Bowl, and then there's turning down being brought on for part of somebody else's Super Bowl headlining show.
Well, let me read it again. Let me reset. Right. So to everybody who just popped in, thank y'all for joining the No Ceilings Live. Make sure you look at the link below.
And that
That's the
includes no
subscription to the podcast. Click the link, subscribe to No Ceilings Podcast. Executive produced by Charlemagne the God. Click that link, updated every Tuesday. And thank y'all for joining us here on No Ceilings Live, 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The conversation is, who do we believe, Drake or Maul? NFL sources told me in the 5 years the NFL has been partnered with Rock Nation, the two parties have never offered Drake the Super Bowl halftime show. The source says it's a blatant lie. And I know it's a lie, B. That's what I'm saying. I think something is wrong. Now, again, if Drake is telling a lie or if Maul is telling a lie. And I was just talking to Pete. Steele finally shows up, even though he's supposed to be here on time. But we happy to have Steele. Everybody
Don't do that, bro.
you on the live stream.
Thank you for joining the live.
Yeah.
Don't do that, bro. Because you know, if I would be here earlier if I could, but I had some stuff going on.
We already had this conversation before we started this thing, that this was going to be paramount to build on. But we're glad you're here. You stumbled in a little drunk.
I don't be putting no lies, no rumors out there on me. You know, I don't even drink no liquor.
I had 2 glasses of red wine that I was trying to finish off from last night from my cooking. So, guilty.
Shout out to Tyrell. I got sick from Kamala's collard greens. Shout out to Detroit.
They left a ring around my bathtub.
Jose, Jonathan Lewis. Thank you, Jonathan Lewis, for the contribution. Also, for a guy who brags as much as Drake, why would he have brought it up during the battle?
Wow. Is Kamala the Drake of politicians? I feel like they're both like phony bathtub collard greens people from Canada.
Oh, man.
They're both Canadian. Or not Canadian. They both lived their, adolescent years out in Canada. So.
I don't really know much about Kamala.
Not much to know.
Yeah, I try to stay out of politics, man. I don't. I won't lie. What's been irking me, like I have my questions about Kamala, right? Obviously, right? But what irks me is the little rapper dude. I think his name Lil Pump, like him calling her B words and out of her name, and like even if I don't agree with her, I don't know how I feel about Lil Pump calling what appears to be a black woman a B word. Like that bothers me, Pete.
That is a stellar word choice there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like, you little piece of you know what I mean? Like, who are you? Like, even if we have questions about Kamala, right? Even if we have questions about Kamala, that don't mean it's okay for you to call her out her, name. What's up, Twine Mac?
It's true. The political scene since Trump touched down has been nuts. I mean, you've got weird artistic creations of killing Donald Trump and calling him every goddamn name in the book on the one hand. So I don't know. The whole thing's out the window. I don't know much about Lil Pump. I don't know really. I know he did a song and I saw a part of a video of it online. I can't even remember what the fuck it is in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the guy. It was like in a high school by a locker or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. But at this point, if I probably saw Lil Pump, the way that makes me feel, I'd probably push him down. Yeah. I wouldn't kick his ass, but I'd probably push him down. Like, don't be calling women who even appear black, bitches. Don't do that, bro. Like you out of line. And see, that's the only thing I hate when we hash out our issues, racially online.
Is Lil Pump black?
No, Lil Pump is not a brother, right? But that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I get you. He's kind of in that Island Boysy world where I'm like, what are we looking at here?
And even the questions about Kamala, bro, it just comes across really funny. You who are not black calling this sister, like, I don't know. It just made me feel funny. Now I wouldn't kick his ass so much, but I definitely push him down like the little mark he is. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to the Drake and Maul point. What I was saying is Drake or Maul line? Okay,
where's Steele go?
I don't know. Steele phone is doing something weird. I have no idea, man. I don't know. I don't know. Is Drake or Maul lying? Which one is lying? Is he lying? Like, I don't want to believe Maul is lying. I don't want to believe Drake is lying, right?
I want to believe both are lying.
Maybe Drake had a conversation with one of those people, and it was thrown around like, man, we should get you on the show. Be like, man, I'm cool. That's not really an offer, bro.
I bet Maul shot from the hip, and Drake probably like backed him up. Like Maul's, I'm sure Drake's been offered the Super Bowl multiple times. I'll call Drake and find out. Drake, you've been offered the Super Bowl multiple times, right? I mean, you heard what I said on the show, right? Oh, yeah, no, they offer me that shit all the time.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
People are saying Elliott Wilson confirms Drake turned down the Super Bowl, but I don't know. Like, I would have to ask L, how did it come to you? Like, did Drake tell you that he turned down the Super Bowl at 20 and 21? Like, yeah, I don't know. I'd probably like to believe the sources. I'd probably like to believe before I believe L or before I would believe Maul or Drake. I'd like to believe the sources.
And if he turned it down in the COVID year Super Bowl, that doesn't count.
Yeah, that is, yeah, because you is talking about in the COVID years. Like
2021 would be like,
yeah, like. Yeah. What are we really talking about? But it's even in bad taste for him to tell him that after Kendrick got offered the Super Bowl. Feel me? It's in bad taste because to even bring it up. Like, this nigga got offered the Super Bowl. Kendrick gets offered the Super Bowl and accepts, and now you are, they offered it to me too. You know what I mean? They offered it to me, and
it sounds Drakey. It does
sound Drakey,
but it also sounds Drake fanny. So
it does sound Drake.
Drake and his fans the fruit doesn't fall far from that particular tree.
Shout out to Ellie Gallo. What's up with it, baby? What's the deal? Shout out to Jose. They both lying. Same with Act. You guys trying to live out their teen years in their late 30s because they were getting wedgies in high school, so they're just saying whatever. I'm crying.
I like that guy. Let's bring him on. Steele, you're out. That guy's on.
Bring Jose in.
Yeah, he's in. Sorry, Steele. It's business decision. Business decision.
You just so funny, Peter, ain't you?
You just got all the joke.
No, you know what? All of these people is full of it, right? Drake ain't turned down no Super Bowl. Why would you turn down what could be possibly the biggest thing in your career? Everybody that does the Super Bowl, it impacts their career in such a positive way. Their streams go up. It just adds value to it. So I can't imagine him turning it down, especially a dude with that type of ego.
Well, it'll clearly be the biggest performance of his career.
For sure, without a doubt.
I don't think
bigger acts than him have taken it. Lots of bigger acts than Drake. And Drake's big. But Beyonce's bigger than Drake.
Yeah.
And the Beatles are bigger than Drake.
Beatles.
The Rolling Stones are bigger than Drake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it wouldn't be like, I cannot believe the Super Bowl secured Drake.
I'll put it to you this way. It's the most profitable free show ever. It just enhances your career in so many ways. It kind of takes you to a whole nother, echelon. So I don't know, man. I think, like the homeboy Eddie said, I think people on here just talking and just making conversation.
There's no reason not to. If you spout off into some stupid discussion about God knows what, and you get a bazillion reposts or follows or whatever from it, no one's suing anybody for defamation or anything like that. There's no cost. That's one of the problems with social media is there is no cost for dishonesty.
Well,
little.
It used to be a thing to where you had to have a credible source. A newspaper wouldn't even print your story if they couldn't get two more sources on it. Now people just say whatever. They get a call from the homie or such and such just did this. I don't see stuff about people dying that ain't dead. Just all kind of stuff.
And you could sue a newspaper because typically newspapers got money, but Joe Blow doesn't have 2 cents. It's not worth the effort to go after him.
Well, you can sue a YouTube channel too. You can sue anybody for going out and just saying anything.
But you're not going to win. You're just going to spend a bunch of money in court and lose.
I don't know. Lately, Peter, people have been getting sued. Like people have been winning in court behind this stuff.
Most
Ace Boy Nuero says Wayne could have at least congratulated K Dot instead of just whining. So also this morning, I watched a video where Wayne was just talking about how disappointed he was for not getting the Super Bowl. He used words like broken. You could just tell he was really disappointed. And knowing Tune, bro, it hurt me too, to a degree, right? Because I love Tune, man. Like, he did so much for my career. He was just been nothing but an outstanding dude. And he was really sad. And Ace Boy Nuero, I get what you're saying. Wayne could at least congratulated K-Dot instead of just whining. I honestly think it wasn't about K-Dot. It was just about Wayne. Like, even during this whole conversation, it's not like K-Dot is more deserving than Wayne. Like, that's not even how the Super Bowl performances work, right? It's not one or the other. They chose K-Dot for a specific reason. They chose Kendrick for a reason. That's how the Super Bowl works. They don't really care about, home court advantages. They don't need you to sell tickets in a local town. That's never, the Super Bowl is going to sell out every year. So I think there's a space for people to be sad for Wayne and happy for Dot. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm okay with Wayne. I'm not okay. If Wayne slandered K-Dot, then I'd feel some kind of way. I'd be really disappointed in Tune at that point. But by him saying his feelings are hurt, you know what I'm saying? He wish he would have got the opportunity. It meant something to him. I'm totally okay with that. It makes me, I do feel his pain. You know what I'm saying? But I am ecstatic for my little brother. Like, I'm ecstatic for K-Dot. You know what I'm saying? No question. So I'm okay with both things existing.
I think everybody loved Lil Wayne. That go without being said. Lil Wayne is a legend. Me and you always have conversations about him. But on the flip side, let's keep it real, right? Jay-Z just can't do what the hell he want to. That's the NFL. There's no telling who in that office, who in the front office says, you know what? No, we can't have Lil Wayne on here. Sure. And to just keep it all the way funky, Lil Wayne, one of my favorite rappers of all time. I would never disrespect Tune, a beautiful person too as well. But Tune got a lot going on right now, man. His last performance, like the last major thing he had at the WWF WrestleMania, we can't act like we didn't see that performance. He was forgetting his words. He was sloppy. He got a reputation for not showing up to rehearsals. So all that stuff, when it gets to people, bro, that's not the stage you can mess up on. They can't afford to take a chance. It might have been too big of a gamble. And that's no knock against Tune and nobody else. But, hey, it is what it is sometimes. You ain't go... I think we get a society, man, a world where everybody... So when something don't happen, they get disappointed. You always got to shoot for the win, but be prepared for the loss.
Eddie Gala, everyone needs their shine at their own time. I agree. And again, it's one of those things where the opportunity, when it comes for Wayne, it'll come for Wayne. I don't think this is the time to really kind of bear down on Wayne and talk about his flaws or what you think his flaws are. Not you, but even the comments, everybody, right? This is not the time. You don't have to do the business for the NFL, you know what I mean, on why they didn't select Tune. Like, we don't got to bash Tune, you feel me, or come up with these, these ideas of why. The business decision was Kendrick Lamar for business decisions. You know what I'm saying? Period. That's it. It don't matter. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean, like why they didn't choose Wayne. That's not our job. We've never in life asked throughout all of these Super Bowls. How many Super Bowls has it been? Like 90 or some shit?
About 50.
There's been a whole lot of them. But, G, on another token, I think it's interesting conversation. That's why everybody talking about it.
No. I'm with talking about it, but what I don't like seeing is people starting to bear down. I've heard people say, "Oh, Wayne is not that much of a legend. Oh, Kendrick has passed Wayne." Bro, nobody is passing. Wayne is a top 3 all-time great. Wayne is one of the 3 most famous rappers in history. You feel me? Like, nobody is passing him. No Dot hasn't had the career to pass Tune, but you don't need to pass anybody to be eligible for the Super Bowl. Madonna didn't pass Michael Jackson. Janet Jackson didn't pass Michael Jackson. They were bona fide legends in their own right. And Lil Wayne is a bona fide legend in his own right to the highest level, just like Kendrick Lamar is.
And like, I don't think Mariah Carey's done a Super. Has she? I don't think so. But doesn't she have like the most? What, like, isn't she in a metric where she at a period of time had the most hits of a certain threshold among all artists ever? Like, she had like volume of performance. She wasn't on there. Whitney Houston was. Beyonce was. She's right in sandwiched in there. Shit happens.
And the Super Bowl don't select people because they're hot. The Super Bowl selects you. The NFL selects you for business.
This is
Mariah Carey was on. Mariah Carey don't need a Super Bowl before Pete.
She did.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I think she did. So I think it really comes down to, I don't like that part of what the internet is doing. Shout out to Hustle Life 404. Much love, bro, for being on the No Ceilings Live again, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 Pacific Standard Time. This is the lunch time. Feel me? This is your lunch hour. So, you know, we ain't got all the people who ain't at work. We got all the people that's actually on their lunch break. Again, and this is my fear, like, right, is when, like, Wayne didn't get picked because he looks crazy. That's not why he didn't get picked.
You can't get mad when these people be having their opinions about Tune. I like Tune too, but you gotta be more. You gotta be more. Put your journalistic hat on, bro.
I'm not a journalist.
Oh, she did the Star Spangled
Yeah,
Banner.
but we still talking about stuff that people interested in, though.
No,
and I love Tune too, but it's a lot going on there.
But again, it's one thing to start to knock somebody because they didn't get an opportunity. That's not, again, you don't have to go that far. They could just have picked Wayne. Look, I'm not encouraging the conversation.
I think Tune at this point, Tune is a legend, dog. I don't think him being in this Super Bowl, I felt his pain this morning. I actually felt bad watching him, and I get him. Yeah. Wayne is a big sports fan too.
Yeah.
So for him, this might have been a dream thing, because I don't think he's ever done one, has he? No. Yeah, so you know what? I feel Wayne's pain, man. I feel his pain. And I don't think ain't nobody in media, rap, or nowhere else, ain't nobody worthy of criticizing Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is,
and that's what I'm saying.
He's the GOAT, dog. He's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Top 3 easily, top 2 possibly.
Yeah, and that's my point. Still, I don't feel like I'm watching people say so much raggedy stuff about Wayne. That is not cool. That's bothering me. You know what I'm saying? Again, everybody should have their fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad, but you're not a Kendrick fan if you talking stuff about Wayne. That's one of his greatest influences. He thinks the world of Tune. It don't matter if Tune is on drugs. We all love Lil Wayne. So this ain't the time to talk about Lil Wayne. They have next year. You know what I'm saying? We could make sure he gets next year, but you don't have to start beating up on him like that. You feel me? You don't got to beat up on him.
You know, though, see, the NFL is probably the most hypocritical league ever. You know, it's just one big walk in hypocrisy, right? But I ain't gonna get into that because this ain't the place for it. People make business decisions, man.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, and I think people pointing the finger at Jay is wrong. I think what Jay does is he gives them a list of people that he thinks should do something, and they got the right to say yay or nay.
What's going on? Somebody, Mike is doing something weird?
That's probably me.
Okay. Shout out to Jack Johnson, who just joined the live stream. Shout out to JoJo Jones, who just joined the live stream. Tyson Garcia, I see you been in here. My boy Gene, 110 to the end. I'm glad y'all in here. Jack Johnson, Wayne confused. He don't know the difference between red and burgundy. Have Mac 10 check whoop in his section. Pyru Street in Compton, not Louisiana. Lil Wayne. I wish gangbanging was just that restrictive. Pyru Street is only in Compton, yet there's Pyrus in Inglewood, yet there's Pyrus in Pacoima, yet there's Pyrus in San Diego. I would imagine there could be Pyru Streets and there could be a Pyru Street gang in Louisiana just as well. You know what I mean? Not to mention Lil Wayne is from a Pyru Street on the east side of Compton. He's not from a Louisiana Pyru gang. Marcus Walters, thanks for joining the chat. Dower 23, I see y'all. Juan Moore, I see you, player. But dude, homie ain't healthy enough for the Super Bowl. Telling the truth is not hating, huh? No, I'm not. Look, if you worried about his health, that's fine, right? And again, if they announced and said, hey, Tune is not healthy. This is why we didn't select him. Cool. But it's just a bit crappy to just come up with this stuff and to start dragging somebody that has been the same person this whole time. Yeah, I mean, he's been the same person this whole time. Like we don't gotta discredit Wayne in that, you know, extreme. We don't gotta do that, bro. We could just focus on celebrating the fact that they chose Kendrick Lamar. That's the point. As long as Wayne didn't come out and he didn't criticize Doc, he would never. So, you know, it's okay for Wayne to come out and say, you know what, man, I didn't get selected. That's fine. I'm cool with that, bro. That's straight.
You know what I think this come from, G? I think this come from a place of hate too. I think a lot of people was mad when Dre and them did what they did at the Super Bowl. And they started thinking in their mind that it's a regional thing. Because the Super Bowl was in LA when you know, Dre and Snoop and them was on there. So I think people just taking it a little too far because people don't normally give a damn who performed at the Super Bowl.
Never. And it's weird because Dre and Snoop could have did the Super Bowl in any city around the world. That's how synonymous their music and brand is when it comes to American culture. Straight up. So I get it. It made sense to market it as part of the enjoyment of the Los Angeles Super Bowl, the new arena. That's cool. But trust me, they did not get selected because the Super Bowl needed them to sell out that arena in Inglewood. They didn't need Snoop and Dre to sell out the arena. They would sell out the arena in any country in the world. That's not even in this country. So
yeah, the Super Bowl gonna do their numbers regardless. It's gonna be millions of people watch them worldwide. And it's an iconic thing. You know, the Super Bowl, man, is probably the watched. Am I right, Peter? It's the most watched sporting event in the world, right?
Yeah.
In the world, maybe.
I'm sure they've had single off events. I'm sure if you tally up FIFA, it's more. And I'm sure FIFA has had a game that's bigger. But the Super Bowl is a consistent, it's the biggest platform.
I'd almost guarantee like every year the World Cup finals probably does.
Yeah, it's probably a game.
Numbers. But
the world
for the domestic market, it's for sure. It's the Super Bowl, or unless, well, shit, OJ's dead, so we're not going to be able to get him in another chase again. So there went that. So it's the Super Bowl now. Yeah.
So again, I think we all agree that we would have loved to have Wayne have that moment to cap off a first ballot, you know, top 5 all-time Hall of Fame career. You feel me? We would have loved for that to have happened for him. You know what I mean? He deserved it. But the NFL didn't see the business that made sense for them in it. And they chose Kendrick Lamar. And that's his stat. That I'm over the moon for Doc, bro. This is incredible. This is like incredible. This little kid, feel me, used to go to Centennial High School. So I'm like pumped up, like, you know, share tour buses with this dude, you know what I mean? And just watch his rise. It's amazing. And, you know, I'm so proud of the things he do to keep his sanity. You know what I mean? I know it's funny because I sometimes feel bad because I pushed him into more spotlights and making big records. And he knew what lied on the other side of big records. You know what I mean? And he may have thought, you know, his soul wasn't prepared for it. Shout out to Big Dev, man. What up, Q? Bubba Linwood in the house. What's happening, baby? Marcus Walters. But if they had it in Seattle, should Sir Mix-a-Lot be performing?
That's what I'm saying.
It don't make no sense.
No,
okay,
because he's not the biggest thing out of Seattle's culture.
Yeah,
it would be like Pearl Jam or some shit.
Yeah, it's different, Marcus. Like, yes, it's not a hometown. I agree with you, Marcus. It's not a hometown thing. They don't need the hometown act to sell tickets. They don't even need the biggest act in the world to sell tickets. You know what I mean? They don't need that with the Super Bowl. But, you know, I do think it would have been great to see Lil Wayne in New Orleans. That's not crazy to think. It's Lil Wayne. Look, I guess Sir Mix-a-Lot is the biggest hip hop act out of Seattle, but Lil Wayne is a lot more than the greatest hip hop act out of Louisiana.
And he did sell a lot of records out of Miami. So maybe if they do it at Hard Rock, he's sold more records based in Miami than any Miami rapper has.
Yes. Or maybe they have him up in the Bay next year. The thing is, this thing don't stop. It's every year. They don't depend on hometown sales. But again, I do get the special moment that people thought they could generate, like maybe when they generated in Los Angeles, where everybody was excited about Snoop and Dre being in LA, and that was a big thing. And so you thought we could, hip hop would get the opportunity to regenerate that moment in New Orleans this year, and it didn't happen that way. But you still got Kendrick Lamar, right, who is one of the greatest staples in hip hop today. At this point, one of the greatest staples in hip hop ever. Right out of a situation where maybe 10 years ago, they wouldn't have even selected him because he was just in a rap beef, because he does have this huge song where he's discouraging and disparaging remarks about another person, making those disparaging remarks. But yet now the NFL is embracing the cultural thing that we got going on and saying, yo, here is something for hip hop. That's amazing. Like, why can't we just celebrate that? Like, why are we not just celebrating that? Like, and I get it. If we're going to be sad for Tune, that's great. But at that same moment of being sad for Tune, we also should be ecstatic for what we got going on in hip hop as well today.
Let me ask you this, G, because you know Tune way better than I do. Do you think he would turn Dot down if Dot wanted to bring him out?
No. I mean, he could, because he could be in his feelings about the opportunity, but I doubt it. He loves Kendrick.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Their relationship, and like you said earlier, Wayne is one of Dot's major influences.
Huge influence.
I remember when he was going to put the one mixtape out, he was sounding just like Wayne. And I told him, I said, dude, it's already one Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And that dude just sold 1 million records. You need to be your own person. And that's when he started. I ain't going to say I told him to change his name to Kendrick Lamar, start using his real government name. But I told him, I said, you trying to mimic this dude ain't going to do nothing for your career. You way too talented for that. But he's a huge Lil Wayne fan.
Yeah. No. I again, people don't know how much, again, Lil Wayne means to Dot. Like, you know what, Dower? I'm not mad at that. Shout out to Dower in the chat. Tyson, you still here. That's much love. Dreadful, what's happening? Ben Frank, Leatherface, Q, what's up? Jack Johnson, we still in here. Wine, what's happening? No Ceilings Live, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon, lunch hour, Pacific Standard Time. Dower, I do think there's a level of fake outrage powering this conversation. I think there is a genuine, you know what I mean? I think there's a genuine concern that Lil Wayne didn't get the opportunity, because this was a conversation before, right? That people wanted Lil Wayne to have this Super Bowl. There is a genuine conversation, but I've said it in the last stream, I do believe all of the Drake stans don't want to see that little dude up there performing that song. And they know that shit finna happen at another level. They all know it's finna be hell to pay when that boy get on that stage and finish the job. And I do think that, that disappointment that their favorite artist lost, to the young homie, to the little homie, like that's powering the there is a real, separation of people who are just discouraged that Wayne didn't get the opportunity. But then it's being powered and pushed up by the Dot anger, by the Drake love, and all of that silly stuff. That's powering up that conversation. And the reality is nothing is going to change it. You're going to get this work in February 2025. He's going to hit that stage and he's going to make everybody talk bad about you. And America as a whole is going to sing this song about you. And there's nothing your fan base, nothing you can do about it. You just got to live it, and it's only your fault because you tried to act like you were the culture. You tried to act like you were street urban culture. The game, Birdman did such a great job. Tune did such a great job for you, Drake, to open the door for you, to give you a platform so people can love you and take you as one of ours and accept you as for who you are. And your first 2 albums, you did that. You focused on making great records and your experiences, but you couldn't resist being involved with something you don't understand. You couldn't resist that. You couldn't resist what it feels like to be one of us. And guess what's happening? He showed you, and he showed all of your fans, all of you fans, he showed y'all you are not like us. You're not like us. So and it's only your fault to blame because you decided you was gonna try to be at the cool table without going through the things that it took to get here. And that's fine. You know what I'm saying? You'll be all right. Pipe down. Stop. You can't play with everybody. Everybody not playing. Everybody not playing, bro.
You know what? Drake's fans will make you halfway not like his ass.
Yes.
Because they just so, like, I've never seen so much outrage, and it's a fake outrage too. Now, the people like the little boozies and everybody speaking up for Wayne, I applaud them on that. That's what they're supposed to do. I don't think people understand sometimes Wayne's place in hip hop. Wayne is a very special dude. Wayne is one of them dudes that's probably gonna come around every 50 years or something like that. Wayne is a bad boy.
Yeah. No.
And I could feel, I could see his feeling because he's a huge sports fan. He's a big sports fan.
Yeah.
I could see him being upset about not being at the Super Bowl, and that's fine.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
That's fine. I'm cool with it. I think he made the statement the best way he could. And I like the fact that he did hold himself accountable. He said, I got to do better.
Yes. And I do like that too. I agree.
He was very humble, and and Wayne is him.
Like he knows why. Like
Mm-hmm.
he knows why he didn't get the nod. And I appreciate that too.
He's taking accountability. And if any of y'all fans ever get the pleasure of meeting Wayne,
Man.
Wayne is probably one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met in my life. I'm a nobody, G. When we was in New Orleans that night, he went out his way to come and say hi to me. He don't know me. I'm not nobody important.
Bro, real story about Lil Wayne. We're shooting the Haters video, right? I'm sick as a dog, right? I'm in Atlanta. I'm sick as a dog. Like I got a flu, right? But I'm going because, Birdman, they set it up and I'm just going to do the work. And I show up on set, right? Now, I didn't talk to Wayne, met up with Wayne a couple times, really got to see his vibe, really good dude. So I go to the set for the Haters video. It's in Atlanta, right? And ironically, I remember telling, my manager at the time, my older brother, I was like, yo, I don't want this girl. Like they had me with this girl that I would never talk to in real life. And it was a girl working on the set. She was blasted with tattoos. And I was like, man, we should use her. She fine. And this girl ended up becoming like a model. Like she became like a model, a working model, but she was working behind, on the production. And we got her and put her in the video. But that's not the point. The crazy part of the story, so I'm on the set, right? I do my first scene, right? Toon show up. He looking at me like, hey, G, you all right? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm cool. He said, man, you look off. You straight? I'm like, man, I got a little flu. He like, hey, man, my mom live in Atlanta. Man, I could have her make you some soup and I'll have her bring it up here. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this man just offered me his mother and said his mother would make me a pot of soup and bring it to the video. Bro, man, I remember thinking, and he's the hottest artist in the world. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, everything I heard about the music business, some of it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? But that dude is such a walking exemplary of whoever he is, he's being the best person. And I'm sure there's things that Wayne have said that have pissed everybody off. I know he made some comments about dark-skinned sisters. I know he made some comments about being black and how his position on racism in America. I know what he said about Black Lives Matter. And yes, we could be upset because we want him to speak for us, and that's fine. But man, you couldn't push me. You could decide to push me off a cliff or make me say something bad about that man. Just push me off the cliff.
You know what, bro?
Nothing bad to say about no man that just sold 1 million records in the first week and asking me to have his mother make me some soup.
And fans need to cut that out. Gee, that really pisses me off when they think just because somebody in the spotlight, they supposed to take a stance on politics or whatever. They are entertainers. They're not politicians, bro.
Yeah.
Just because you're in the spotlight, you don't have to say something about everything.
Yeah. And look,
Wayne seems like a positive guy, like an uplifting guy. Like he's always going to defer to the more positive or the less negative thing to say.
Yes.
And I don't think that there's really much wrong with that. I can respect that.
And honestly, the reason he's such an incredible artist, right, is because, right, he really tunes out the whole world. He tunes out the whole world and just makes music. That's why he's so fantastic. But also, he really won't know who this artist is. He really won't know who this person is. He really won't know about this movement. And people would think this dude lying. And I'm like, bro, you don't get that great at doing something if you paying attention to everything. Like,
You don't pay attention to nothing.
I realized I stopped listening to so much new music because I'm so busy trying to make the music people should be listening to. I don't got time to listen to new music. All I listen to, cuz, is music that was already the shit. I don't listen to new music, big bro. Like, I'll catch one song. Like, if you got a really good song, I'll catch it. If you got a good TikTok thing, I'll catch it. But I've been listening to LL Cool J The Force. Mind you, y'all should really go check that out. LL Cool J The Force, produced by Q-Tip. That's going to win Hip Hop Album of the Year at the Grammys. It's a really great album. LL Cool J is rapping better than he's ever rapped in his life. He didn't make a bunch of hit records like he normally would, but he made a really great project, and he's emceeing at the highest tier. So make sure y'all check out The Force. But man, I only listen to things that was already the greatest thing. I'm not really dissecting a lot of new stuff. And that's what works for Wayne. I realized how he got that good. And I didn't follow that. It comes to you naturally. You stop keeping in touch with everything everybody doing.
And that's true about most great people. Like, most great people who are the greatest at a craft are a little socially off-center. I mean, you look at Bill Gates speak, Musk, Kobe wasn't the most socially assimilable guy. Sure. Michael Jordan, for different reasons, was not the most socially assimilable guy.
Sure.
Mark Zuckerberg, a little weird. Lil Wayne, a little different. You
have to be, bro.
You're immersed in your personal interest at all times.
Yeah, Kanye, bro. Kanye. But I find myself being more socially off-centered every day from friends. You know, I got a group chat with the homie Pun, Problem, Manny, and AD. And I'm always the socially off-centered one. You know what I mean? But I'm also not plugged into the system being programmed. You know, my controller out of the system. I'm playing the game how I want to play it. So it's different.
I got you. I get that.
You know what Mike joint is on that LL album?
What's that?
The one he got with Eminem. He on there rapping his ass off.
He give Eminem some work. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that Murdergram is hard. And I like the one he did with Snoop too.
Yeah. How they opened the album. That was fire. Mm-hmm. Cyrus. Yeah, that's dope. I think my favorite one on the Force album is Postmodern. It reminds me of like Rock the Bells.
Mm-hmm. LL did a good job on his album and keeping stuff to his essence and what he do, but he's on there rapping. He's giving niggas that work.
Well, ironically, he told a story about how he started making an album with Dr. Dre, and he just didn't feel he was in the position lyrically to support the album. And he had to kind of back up a little bit and get himself back together. He said he went back to the board and started writing a bunch of shit and getting busy. I mean,
what year was that?
Working, and he finally found a groove, and he started working with Q-Tip, and they found a marriage, and he just kept rapping. He got his timing back, and Q-Tip, the production on that album, man, is stellar. Like Q-Tip, but this is what I've been trying to do, like with the Eric Sermons. I really believe in that style of hip hop. You know what I mean? Where you have one producer execute a vision. You know what I'm saying? And that's dope. You know, speaking of Lil Wayne and even talking about The Force, completely produced by Q-Tip, the greatest Lil Wayne album, well, the best Lil Wayne album is the Carter One. I feel like that's when he had the continuity of Manny Fresh's production, and Manny Fresh was just murdering, who still is amazing. And Lil Wayne finally had arrived at that version of MC that he was at when the Carter 3 was made. He had arrived right there. He had became this complete artist, and Carter 1 is like the best example of what Lil Wayne could be as a creative, as a whole body of work. How he examined the house, the apartments that he was selling drugs at, and it was dope. Y'all make sure y'all check out the Carter 1 too.
The cool thing about it is Wayne was a little kid when he made that album, dog.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, dog. Phenomenal. Yeah, I wish that this is almost like a sad thing, man. Hip hop, just period. Like, remember I told you 5-6 years ago, G, when you were staying in Lakewood, I told you, I said, man, the internet is going to wind of the biggest gifts to society, but it's also going to wind up being one of the worst things that ever happened.
I remember that. And you know what made you say that? I was showing you Soulja Boy. Shout out to everybody.
You saw me Soulja Boy video.
Yep. Shout out to everybody still in the chat. I see you, King. Jack Johnson, Ray Shaw, Tyson Garcia, Gulf Coast Connection, Leatherface, what's up? Jack Johnson, Queen Street Bloods, putting Birdman and Wayne on, Inglewood stand up. Facts, they wasn't whooping until Mac 10. Facts, bro. No, Jack, it actually belongs to a guy named Terminator from the Mob in Compton, Looters Park. Lil Wayne is a member of the Mob Pyrus and Looters Park, by Looters Park, right? Mob and Looters Park are right across the street from each other. They, in theory, initially started together, but they're separate. The Mob, my homeboy Term, is like somebody who used to rock with Baron Davis. So while I think Mac 10 gave them the sauce and showed them what a swaggerific type of gang member was like, Baron Davis and Term, I give credit to, you know what I mean, when it comes to Mob for what you see with Lil Wayne and Birdman. I give it to Term and Baron Davis when Baron Davis was down in New Orleans playing for the Hornets. So there you go, some information. King, it's weird that his Super Bowl snub has people giving Wayne his flowers, but prior nobody gave a crap. You know what? I don't know where were you, King, when they were giving Lil Wayne his flowers, but Lil Wayne has always gotten his flowers. It's Lil Wayne. It always is Lil Wayne.
Hey, G, speaking of Wayne, you didn't like the Block is Hot album?
I like the Block is Hot album. It was cool. I went back and listened to it.
Yeah, that was a dope album. That was like really the first project I bought from Lil Wayne. It was funny. I was like, man, I'm out here buying Lil Kia music.
You know what's funny? So here's another real story, right? Being signed to Cash Money Records, right? I didn't have a lot of respect for Wayne when I got signed to Cash Money Records in 2007 in the fourth quarter, December. I didn't really have that much respect for him. I knew who he was because I listened to Juvenile's album. You know what I mean? I heard BG's album. I heard Turk's album. I was listening to Juvenile. That was the superstar of Cash Money. I mean, Juvenile was like one of the dopest people in life. 400 Degrees is the greatest album to ever come out of the South. I believe that to this day. While Scarface is my favorite artist from the South, I genuinely believe 400 Degrees is the greatest album to ever come out of the South. So
I probably agree with you on that.
That changed things.
Yeah. I didn't have that much respect for Wayne as a rapper. I thought Wayne was, more than capable as a rapper, but I was missing out on mixtape Wayne. Right. And so I'm leaving, Black Wall Street, which, I'm not signed, but this is my crew and this is who I'm doing business with. Right. At the time, Face and G-Rod is managing me with my older brother. Game is pretty much co-signing my career. And that's how I got my buzz. So I remember thinking Game is an A+ rapper. I'm a B- rapper. Right. I remember going to Cash Money Records. That was my thought. The Game is an A+ rapper. I'm a B- rapper. And I saw where Game was at. And I was like, okay, I could get there if I worked hard. It didn't hit me how good I wasn't until I got signed to Cash Money Records. And I started sharing the studio with Lil Wayne. And bro, immediately, right? Because what made Game fantastic, I watched Game do 300 bars, bro. I was there. It was in G-Rod's house. I watched him put that together, 300 bars. I was thinking like, damn, this dude is incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like 300 bars rapping, that was special. And I remember just how fantastic Game is so dope, especially at verses, bars. Man, that dude is amazing. And I'm like, man, this dude is tough. Like, I got to rap more but I could be that good. When I signed to Cash Money and I went to the studio the first time with Lil Wayne, the man knocked out 7 songs, hooks and everything, and all that shit was tight. And it could have been smash hit records. I remember leaving the studio after that weekend, right, in Miami, going back to my the house that they had for me. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, I'm a D.
Had this soul searching. When you get exposed to someone who's so good at something, you gotta reconsider the world.
A B-, and Wayne is an A+. I'm like, oh, I'm almost failing as a rapper. I'm horrible. Still, I'm horrible.
Yeah, Wayne is something else, man.
I mean, and to watch this dude do it night in and night out, and not just a dope verse. I watched him record a milli.
He's incredibly versatile too. Like
And
there
he
aren't a
don't
lot of
write
guys
nothing
that
down.
can crush a verse
Minus he don't
and
write
like
them
do
down.
a hook like that.
He walked in the studio, right, Pete, smoking weed, sipping tea to keep his voice clear.
Yeah.
And he's walking and the music is playing. He started in about 12, 13 minutes. He walks in the studio and lays the song out with the chorus. Bro, he did a milli. So, bro, when I tell you, I almost wanted to quit. That's how good Lil Wayne was.
He brought you back to reality.
Rating, bro.
He was in there when he walked in and just dusted a milli. Like you were in there for that.
I watched him do 10
like
songs.
First,
he just reel them off, bro. He just reel them off, hook and everything. And the hooks be catchy. So that's where he had Game to me. Game could MC a verse just as great as Lil Wayne. But when that hook happens, that's where Wayne separates himself from most of hip hop.
That's just a great observation. And I've heard things similar to that mentioned about both comedy and just simply like authors in general, where the smaller you get, the harder it gets. The hook is what, a dozen words or whatever it is. The verse is 3 dozen words or whatever it is. To crush that small is like proportionately that many times harder. You know, people think like the verse is real hard. The verse gives you wiggle room. The hook gives you 12 words to kill it, and he kills it. Like there's no, it's hitting a bottle cap from a mile away with a rifle.
Story time 3 in this live stream. Story time 3. Man. They're planning this big coming out party for me with Cash Money, right? This huge coming out party, right? They like, Glasses, we're going to put you in the new Lil Wayne single video. We're going to give you this big cameo, right? And I'm like, damn, that's love, you know what I mean? But I'm such a crip, bro, at this time. Like I'm really getting myself together, getting in the business, but I'm such a gangbanger. I'm such a thinker. So they're in the studio and they're playing the song for me. They like, this is going to be his single. This is quarter 3 time. And they start playing this song. Lick her like a lollipop. I'm like, man, this shit whack as fuck. I don't want to fucking be in this video. This shit trash. The hell is this nigga? This nigga ain't rapping on this song. I'm thinking to myself how bad this song was. Right. And I remember like, man, I remember the video and getting up there, disappearing so they couldn't see me. You know what I'm saying? Because I did not want to be in this. I hated this song. This song was not dope to me. Right. And so finally, we at the Maloof's house in Las Vegas, and we're shooting the last. And they're like, Glasses, man, we've been looking for you this whole time. You just showed up, man. Damn, you missed up your big cameo. You know, man, come on, we're gonna put you in this. So they put me in this scene where we're in the Maloof's playroom, and you know, there's us a pool table and girls. So I sitting there, I get my little cameo, I make it small because I do what they ask. And fast forward a month later, I'm in New York. I'm going to see the product manager for Cash Money. It's a lady named Katina Bynum. This is one of the greatest women I've ever met in the music industry. She's a straight shooter. I love this sister. Katina Bynum, product manager for Cash Money Records at Universal Music, right? So she's like, hey, G, you know, we chilling, we chopping it up. She said, hey, you see the Wayne video? They showed you the video yet? I said, no. She was like, oh, let me show it to you. And the video comes on. And I remember looking at it like, oh my fucking God, I fucked up. This is finna be the biggest song in the world. I was like, cuz, this is finna be stupid ass cuz. What the fuck? Oh man, I watched that video. I said, I never do this dumb ass shit again. I will never think I know what the fuck is going on again.
And you were so hard-headed back then, bro. Couldn't nobody tell you nothing.
It was funny is everybody told me shit, but then everybody that told me was fucking wrong. And then when I did what they said, they be wrong, and they never come back and be like, I was wrong. But that
Yeah,
for
that's
sure,
BS.
huh?
I said some BS, ain't it?
But for sure, that specific time when I heard Lollipop in the studio versus what I saw on that TV screen, that was when I started realizing how powerful visuals were.
Yeah.
Again, now that I know a ton about records, I also get what made Lollipop this fantastic record. But man, when I saw that video still, boy, that video was so cold. I said, oh my God, this is finna be a smash. And my cameo was supposed to be in the Hummer. I was supposed to pop out the Hummer. Big chunky C's and all that. The Hummer on the strip. That was supposed to be, I was supposed to get that cameo. So that's why can't nobody tell me nothing bad about Birdman or Tune in life. I don't give a fuck what Birdman do. Nigga, I'll shoot you over Birdman today. Them people tried to help me change they did change my life, but it would have been so much more greater, right? They tried to make me the biggest star ever from the West, and nothing could ever take that from them with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm always gonna love Tune and Stunner and Mac Main and Cortez and everybody, even Drake and them. Like, man, I watched them dudes come in. Like, I love them dudes, but Dot is this is my heart. I love this dude, man. He's my boy. Like, I watched him grow up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to ride with Dot for sure against Drake. For sure, no question. Feel me? And don't get me wrong. Like, if they want to squabble it out, I would set it up, but I'm not finna let him kill this little, Drake or nothing. But I'm saying, bro, we're in such a great position, man, still that we witness all of this history to where now we looking at this history and it's like the thing that matters the most.
You know what's crazy though, bro, about all that, you saying that? We've seen a lot of stuff together, and I laugh because I see dudes on these other platforms lying about certain things, and I was like, you wasn't there. So how you in position to speak on this and you wasn't there? So it's funny, man. It's funny. I know, man, the one thing I wish I'd have pushed you more on, I really wish, man, when you was fighting, doing more stuff with them, I really wish I'd have doubled down on you going down to Miami, dog, for a few months, dog. I think that would have been good for you.
But you know what I was doing there? You know what the crazy part is, bro? I'm going to say something that I never said publicly, and I probably shouldn't say it publicly, but I'm going to say it anyway. I just didn't like being in the middle of Mac 10 and Stunner disagreement sometimes. That shit was the worst. That turned me off.
That makes sense.
I didn't like that. Like, it was an amazing situation, but again, man, I wouldn't take it back for the world. You know what I mean? Like, I loved every bit of it. I love Mac 10. My life has changed because of Mac 10. You know what I mean? I make, more than enough money to pay my bills just off of the stuff I've created. That's Mac 10 business, same with Birdman and Tune. But I give credit to Birdman and Tune. They gave me everything they could. I just didn't have the rest of the things that I needed. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with saying I was ignorant and I didn't know. I'm not blaming anybody. Like, it's me. Like, so, it's my job to finish it, to finish the investment that they put in me so they could be like, oh, I was right about that dude. You know what I mean? Y'all didn't know, but I was right. You know what I mean? That's one of the most important things is Birdman and Mac 10 looking up, be like, I told y'all that dude was really, he had it. Every time I do something incredible now, you know what I mean? I know they be like, man, the little homie is wild. I mean, I know it because Mac will tell me like, man, this nigga G is wild. And I know Birdman be like, yeah. He, in the back of his mind, he like, y'all probably, he said, because I remember Jay-Z and Birdman both told me like, you could be the biggest thing from the West.
I agree.
And I remember
that statement.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement. But you know what? If you would have did those things, we always talk about it, you would be a whole different rapper right now. It wouldn't. I think you had to go through what you went through to become who you go be. No.
When I first got in the game, though, honestly, bro, I got in the game to run a record company. So it was to be independent. At that time, no lie, you could fact check it. You could go to these people Instagram, Freeway Rick, and a guy named Monty from John Street. This is when Rick still had a bunch of money. He was in the Fed still. They were going to give me roughly $600,000 or $700,000 to start my record label. Like I went to visit them dudes in the Feds. Like,
I remember that. I remember you wanted to put the Young Hogs out.
Yeah, and
put the Young Hogs out.
Everybody fought me on having my own label. They wanted me to focus on being a hip hop artist, and the one thing I didn't know how to do still was being an artist. I knew how to rap. I didn't know how to make songs, but when I had Guido, he would make the records for me, like producers supposed to. But I knew how to rap, and I was serious about all this stuff I was talking about. Something interesting. Shout out to everybody still in the chat. I know we over the hour mark, but we rocking today. So we're going to go a little longer. We ain't going to drag y'all, but we're going to eventually get into it. Prime example. Bad Boy had the Southside Crips. Pac had the mob. We all know who Drake pays out here. That's where the root problem lies. That's why Drake behaves like a punk. Who does Drake pay? I never heard that in the streets. Who does Drake pay? I like to fancy myself as a street guy. Shout out to No Bill, Jack Johnson, Leatherface, Ben Frank, Jack Johnson, MJ, everybody in the chat still filling up them chats. You know what I mean? I think we got a super chat. For sure, Sharice. We're going to keep going. I got you. I promise. We're going to keep working it out. We get into it. We building the consistency every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time. We here to have these conversations. Click the link below. Subscribe to the No Ceilings Podcast on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcast. My podcast is executive produced by Charlemagne the God for Black Effects Network with iHeart. So, yeah, I would like to know that, King. Who is Drake paying out here? Who getting that check? I would like to know that. Who getting that check still?
Man, you know what?
West Side
I don't know, dog.
Crips.
I don't know who Drake would be paying out here. I ain't never known him to be connected to no hood out here.
Yeah, I never heard that. Vashawn Paradise just subscribed on here. What's up, Glasses? Thank you for the subscription. What's happening? We up in here having these conversations, just expanding on the brand and having some good times.
Let me ask you this, bro. Who will you do? Because I know, actually, that whole thing about rappers paying neighborhoods, man, some of that stuff is a myth to a certain degree.
It's all a myth.
You know, it's like, man, I hear all that. Like Chris Brown is really from where he from.
Yeah. And I don't think people get that.
You know, he really where he from. He do what he do. All this stuff about somebody and getting paid, some crime boss taking some money behind the scenes. Man, I swear, G, for us to make a living off the internet, I hate this shit sometimes. I swear, man, it's like sometimes I want to just go get me a job, dog. It's like this stuff is getting ridiculous sometimes.
But you know what it is? They see the movie Colors and Boys in the Hood and they hear rumors. Like people be saying certain people being extorted. I'm like, nobody's being extorted, bro. Nobody's getting extorted. Tyson Garcia just said that. Rappers get extorted. No, they don't, Tyson. No, they don't.
Are there issues where there are actual like for contract like security people that are local to LA that are associated like Big U has people that he gets into security roles and then there's this becomes this by proxy rumor mill by virtue of that.
People get a job, but that whole extortion stuff, man, it's not nobody out here doing that, man. The thing is, you got to think about this. If I'm worth $5 or $6 million, gee, I'm gonna get somebody's head busted. Ain't nobody's gonna be extorting me. You don't have them type of problems.
And that's like, to me, a lot like the Pac and the mob thing. So Death Row had a relationship with the mob at the time that was for security purposes. Am I wrong? And Pac hangs out with him, gets to know him, they become friends, whatever. Now he has a different perspective of himself. Well, in a nutshell-ish, in opposed to him getting extorted and paying them.
Pac's situation is really different. Like that's big situation. That's big situation. That's Puff situation. They hired security from Southside. They didn't what's the word that they use? Extort Bad Boy.
Sure. Well, how did Death Row and because Mob James used to be with those guys, right?
Yeah.
Security. Security. They were like on payroll, kind of, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like
no, but that's not what Pac's situation. It was different. Pac got signed to Death Row Records. Right. And then he built a bond with all of the homies that was around. It wasn't just security. Because Reggie and them was doing security. They had.
That's
security.
why they were around. That's what enabled the access. Is all I'm saying. For the relationship to be built, the relationship could be as authentic as anything. I'm just saying that's what enabled the forum.
I just think yes, but I think the homies was more a Suge's thing more than them running around with Pac. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Suge had those guys with him.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, Pac had actual security that Reg hired, but because they were all at the studio, Pac formed a bond with dudes. Pac formed a bond with dudes that's that were
what I was trying to say.
Yeah, Mob Piru. Yeah. So,
in opposed to like hypothetically, and this is just a hypothetical, in opposed to like if Snoop's at the studio with 20 guys from 20s, those are just his friends that he would have been hanging out with in a room anyway because it's Saturday.
Sure. Hustler Life 4-4, Tupac was not a gang member. He was just loyal to who bailed him out of prison. He would have crashed out for anybody that did that for him. You know what, Hustler? I disagree. I think Tupac was from the mob. He was proud he was from the mob. He actually banged the mob. I think he was from the mob at that point. So I think he was from the mob. And I think that's why he took on the situation. And, for whatever that's worth, I do think Tupac pretty much became a mob member. Magado Music, what's happening? Pac started with the Crips, though. Thug Life was Crips. Yes, they were. They were from Rolling 40. But, the friends you make is the friends you make. And he chose Thug Life and created a group. He chose with the 40s. And, that was work. That worked out for him. You know what I mean?
Big Psych was from IVC.
Yep. Psych was from IVC.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Psych. Leatherface Pac was Thug Life. Thug Life was a 40 thing, too. Hustler, he said, we can agree to disagree. He said it. So me and you are not agreeing to disagree. You would have to disagree with Pac. Pac said he was from the mob. He screened the mob. He represented Long Beach and Rosecrans.
Let me step in here real quick. You know who's my best friend, G, when you first met me?
Psych.
Big Psych. Big Psych was my road dog. That was like how me and G's relationship is. That's how me and Psych was. Psych was my brother. I cried, was actually depressed when Psych died. Remember, I was supposed to do I was trying to get the podcast stuff, and Psych was gonna be our first interview, dog. And my nigga died, dog. Like that next week, dog. Psych and Pac had fell out because of the mob stuff. So Pac was really from the mob.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When Hustler Life said he never said he was banging. When he went and punched on, Baby Lane, that's banging. Banging don't work no other way. He he got his mob tattoo. He was saying he was from the mob, and he punched on somebody in the name of the mob.
You know what the irony of it is, G?
Huh?
The irony of it is that Psych fell out with Pac, not because he went to no blood neighborhood, but because he didn't want Pac banging, period.
Yeah.
He foresaw all this stuff that happened. He told him, he said, nigga, you could wind up dying messing with this stuff. You wind up losing your life. See, Psych would never allow Pac to become no Crip.
Yeah.
He told me that. He told me that out of his own mouth when we was flying to Dubai.
Yeah. Pac was hella young during all this time. This is early 20s.
Exactly. We gotta remember the man died, at 25 years old?
Yeah, just turned 25 too.
Just turned 25. He was a kid, bro.
Yeah. So again, I don't think that's important. I would like to know, you never hit the comments back and told us who Drake was paying. I never heard Drake was paying anybody. So I don't know.
I heard there was dudes from the 7 getting money from Drake. And they must just cut you out.
And I wouldn't take a dime. So if it wasn't coming from me, shit, they better get something.
Good for those guys.
Yeah. Get your money.
Peter, don't be starting them rumors up, man. Somebody
I would hope that it could pick up my sarcasm.
Hustler Life 4-4 because they bailed him out. He would have done that for anybody. Maybe, but he did it for the mob. And this is Mob Piru.
I think Pac just genuinely formed a chemist, a brotherhood with them dudes, man. He really messed with them cats.
Yeah.
And they messed with him, so it was what it was, man.
Yeah, that's how it go. Well, look, we gonna end out this this live stream right here. No Ceilings Live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon, the lunch hour, Pacific Standard Time. Look in the bio, click the link, subscribe to the podcast, No Ceilings Podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts at. Executive produced by Charlamagne the God. Again, No Ceilings here. We back Monday at noon, and we'll get into this conversation further.
As the homie A would say, "Jip."